Did you do anything besides golf?
No, I don't do anything besides golf, but I'm actually reading about a restaurant in this golf magazine. It's Bernard's in Ocotillo. And I don't know if you guys know this, but
Ocotillo?
yeah, Ocotillo. Brad might get mad at you. I don't know if you know this, but at Bernard's, you get the best view in Chandler. Brad, that's for you, buddy. He actually tweeted me about that this morning and posted on Facebook about it. We're going to get that to stick, the best view in Chandler. So we're starting a little bit early today because we're going to have a ton of questions for today's guest. And a couple of weeks ago when Kendall Dye stepped up, she was really quick and excited to get involved, and she did a great job with the Hangout. But I think that today's guest is going to be able to do her one better. And it's, I think, because of the fact that she's also local and she's also an LPGA Tour player, but we'll get to that in a second. Jason is not with us. You might notice that Jason is being replaced by Kelly Shaw, who has stepped up from the dugout. She had a hangout last night. Tell us about that, Kelly. What was it and how'd it go?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. We were wrapping up the 2014 season for Ladies Dream Golf, and I had Beth Bethel and Annette Walker and Alexandra Cossey, who's a Symetra Tour player, joined us, and we just talked golf, and I gave a sneak preview of next season for Ladies Dream Golf, and it was really a lot of fun.
Well, she has been a guest on the Friday Foursome as well, so that's exciting. And she's a current Symetra Tour player, soon to be LPGA Tour player. I think she's going to break through next year. I think that we're starting to see a trend here with the Friday Foursome. Like 2015 might be like all LPGA Tour players, and I would probably be okay with that because that's pretty fantastic. And we have Les Bailey from Pro Golf Now. Les, how's it going, my bud?
All right, it's going great, man. Wintertime is kind of scooting by us here. It's not real cold out, but...
Well, how cold is it? Because it's 70-ish in Phoenix today.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, it didn't get out of the 30s yesterday, so today's better, you know. It's
I
quite
don't
something.
know if I can't even imagine. Because today's guest for the Friday Foursome is here in Phoenix, Scottsdale as well, so she can totally appreciate the warm weather that we have.
Absolutely.
This episode of the Friday Foursome is brought to you by, now I bet you thought I was going to say the Back Nine Network, but I'm not going to say that anymore, because from this episode and for the entire duration of 2015, the Friday Foursome is going to be brought to you by greenskeeper.org. You'll see my logo has been updated. Les, you're going to get a new hat. Kelly, you don't have a hat coming, but you're not a guest on the Friday Foursome that often. But we'll see if we can't get you some greenskeeper.org swag. But Jason's got a hat coming too, but since Jason has decided not to be able to join us today, I'm going to be mad at him about that too, because he had to go pick up Jace from school. But no excuses. But today's guest, LPGA Tour player, I mean, there are a lot of things I could say about today's guest, from who her folks are, to who she's married to her golf game, but I'm going to give her a couple of seconds to introduce herself. So having said all of that, I would like to introduce you to Mallory Blackwelder from the LPGA Tour. Mallory, welcome to the Friday Foursome.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us who you are, what you do, and, well, your background and who your folks are, and just all the golf stuff that surrounds your life.
The very short version, because like you said, it's quite extensive. I'm from Versailles, Kentucky, a small town right outside of Lexington, and my mom, Myra, played on the LPGA Tour. She was Rookie of the Year in 1980. She and my dad met when she was at Q School. He was caddying for another player and then went on to caddy on the LPGA Tour. He's currently out there right now with Kim Kaufman, and he's caddied for like 25 plus years for lots and lots of different players, including Julie Inkster, Christy Kerr, Patty Sheehan, lots of big names. My brother caddies on the LPGA Tour, so I'm going to be out there
I didn't even
with...
know that. That's funny.
Yeah, so he'll be 30 in January, so it's his third year. So I'm going to be out with the fam next year with my dad and brother, and I'm sure Mom will kind of travel more than she did before because all of us are going to be out there. And then my husband, Julien, he is a former player, almost got his PGA Tour card in 2009, missed by one shot, played Nationwide Tour in 2010, didn't have a good year, kind of was over golf, and then somebody told him to audition for Big Break. He got picked, I got picked, that's where we met, fell in love, now we're married, and now he caddies on the PGA Tour for Graham Dillette.
So let's just
So
say.
we're not. I mean, we don't like ever talk about golf or anything.
I was just gonna say, do you ever talk about anything but golf?
No, not really.
And that was actually going to be one of my questions, was who your husband caddied for, because I didn't know who he caddied for.
Yeah,
but,
so he's been, yeah, so he actually, Graham was his first bag. Graham hired him in June of 2012, and so he's been with Graham ever since.
Very cool. Well, Graham played in the Phoenix Open last year and did pretty well, actually,
Yes,
didn't he?
he did. Yeah, that was kind of a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
I thought he had it.
Well, was he playing this year? Will he be in the field this year?
He is, yes.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, you don't have to go far to watch him play. So.
I'm going to be in Ocala that week.
Oh, well, okay.
That's our first tournament.
Oh, well, I was going to say we could hang out, but I'll be there all week. I'll be there Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll be in the corporate village, and then on Saturday and Sunday I'll be on the course actually volunteering for ShotLink. So
nice.
I'll make sure that I'll wave at your husband when I see him. You won't have any idea who I am, but I'll know. So we've got a ton of questions. Kelly's got a whole bunch. I'm going to let her start because she actually, when I said, Kelly, send me 3 questions, she sent me like 7. So, Kelly, I'll let you kick things off.
Okay, well, I first want to say that, being that I run a fantasy golf site that's based on the LPGA, I'm really excited that you made it on the tour. And I know that a lot of my players are going to be excited that they're going to have the opportunity to pick you for their fantasy golf teams. So that is really cool. And also, I was a huge fan of yours on Big Break, Ireland.
Thank you.
And I have to say, you really rocked the cold weather golf attire. Kind of made me want to play in cold weather.
No, it was so miserable. It was so cold.
So my question for you is, I know you've been on the Symetra Tour quite a few years, like I think 4 years. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to keep going and to keep working towards your card? And it's amazing that you finally got your card. But what really is it that inspired you during that time?
I watched Kendall's episode last week, and I kind of had a similar story as her. When I started, I thought I was gonna get out there right away, because honestly, I graduated in 2009, and then my first time at Q School, I got conditional status. So I was like, oh, this is no big deal. But then I only ended up getting in 3 tournaments. I played most of that year. That was 2010. Most of that year on the European Tour, because I went to LATQ school and got a full card there. And then I played some Symetra Tour events. So my first year, I was all over the place. I had a pretty good year. And then went to Q School, fall of 2010, and played terrible. Played the Symetra Tour. Had a decent year in 2011. So it was kind of, I was always kind of close, and I had originally said, I wanted to give myself, I said 3 years, but honestly I was kind of more 3 to 5. And then I've dealt with a ton of injuries and some health issues. In 2012, I took most of the year off. I had to have elbow surgery, and I got diagnosed with a form of rheumatoid arthritis. So after that experience, I just wanted to give myself a full 2 years of being healthy, because I almost always had pain when I played, and that's a hard way to play golf. So once I got healthy, I got on some medication for the arthritis, and I actually changed my diet. I'm gluten-free and dairy-free, and now I'm not on medication, and it's completely controlled by my diet currently. So I feel great. So I think once I finally got to the point where I was healthy, I was like, okay, I'm going to give myself another 3 years. And then this just happened to be the year. So.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, Tiger can tell you what it feels like to play with pain, because he pretty much
horrible. I mean,
plays with pain.
It's so hard, because you feel like you can't practice, like how you need to practice, but you can't, because you got to save yourself for the tournament days, and it's almost like you don't realize what it's like until you're out of pain, So. Yeah.
Well, Les, in your old age, I bet you have some pain running through your body. I'm going to let you ask your first question, then we'll go back to Kelly, because Kelly, like I said, has a ton of stuff to ask. So, Les.
Well, it's amazing that we don't always see how much pain people are playing in, of watching it on television. Now that you've got your tour card, what are your goals for 2015?
I really need to sit down and kind of reevaluate. I haven't done that yet, but my first goal is to qualify for the ANA Inspiration, formerly the Craft. The criteria for that, if you have to be top 80 on the money list after Kia, and then the top 20 players who are not already qualified who are in the top 80 will get in. So that's my first goal, because I got to play in the craft as an amateur in 2008, and I think that was like one of the best experiences of my life. I love the golf course. I love it. It's just such a special tournament. So that's my first major goal. And then obviously, second, keep my card is a huge goal.
There's another goal, huh? Yeah.
I think that one of my goals will be to get into the top 60 on the money list to qualify for all of those end-year tournaments in Asia. That's a good goal, because I think once you've kind of reached that point, it's kind of almost hard to drop out of that, because you're playing in all the limited field events. So that's another big goal that I'll have.
All right.
So there are a lot of LPGA Tour players out there. Be very candid how you answer this, but who are you, one, most excited to play with, and two, least excited to play with?
I feel like it's different for me, because I have known so many of the players from my dad being out there, and my mom, and it's like I feel like I really know a lot of the players already. So, if I ever got to play with Julie Inkster, I think that would be amazing, because my dad caddied for her early in her career in the 80s, and then again when I was in high school. And I've always looked up to her, being able to have a family and stay competitive so long. I think it's amazing. So if I could play with her, that would be amazing. And then least, I don't think that there's anybody specific that,
Because if you said someone, I was going to be like, well, she's watching, so.
No.
Okay, well, that's very exciting to be able to. And have you played with her, like not in competition?
I played a practice round with her the year that I played in the craft.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Did you beat her, or did you let her win?
I think I did beat her in the tournament, actually.
Oh, yeah. Good luck ever playing with her again now.
Maybe I didn't play well on Sunday. I was tied for 10th after the first day with Annika, and I'm in college, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing ever.
That's funny. Now, you mentioned your mom. We're going to go back to your mom, because Kelly's got a question about your mom. It'd be cool if she was able to join us, too. That'd be neat. We should get her in a Friday foursome in the future.
For sure.
Follow up. Yeah, that'd be fun. Kelly.
So I know your mom, just from reading, I know that your mom has been a coach of yours, and I'm just curious, is she your only swing coach? Is she the only swing coach that you've had?
No. So she is my main swing coach. I just took her to the airport this morning. She was here for a couple days working with me, but we work really well together, and we're very, very close, but she is my mom, and so sometimes I just need to go to someone else, because sometimes I just want her to, sometimes I just want her to be my mom. And like I said, literally our family, we talk golf like all the time. So sometimes I just want her to be my mom, and I don't want to talk to her about my golf swing and what I need to work on. And so I've worked with, I haven't worked with a ton of people. In college, I worked a little bit with Andrew Park at Ledbetter. And then when I first moved to Arizona, I worked a little bit with Tina Toombs. She's at the Biltmore, and she played on tour with my mom, so I've known her forever. And then there's a guy in Kentucky that I see somewhat frequently. His name's Steve Geisler. But it's kind of like I work mostly with my mom, but then if I need to, I go see somebody else for a second opinion.
So Phoenix, you're in Phoenix, and I know that you're a member of the club in Phoenix. I'm going to let you talk about that membership real quick. But then after that, besides that golf course, where do you like to play?
So Julien and I joined Pinnacle Peak Country Club at the end of last year. So this is our first year as members. We have a ton of friends out there. He's originally from Canada, but he went to high school here. He's lived here since he was 12. So lots of our friends are members out there. And honestly, that's why we joined, because he travels so much that when he's gone, I always have somebody to play golf with. And some of my sponsors are members out there, and so it's really nice. We have a really great group of people out there. So, and then besides that,
feel free to say any Troon property.
I've been to True North, but I haven't played it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I haven't played a ton of other courses, honestly.
Well, let me know when you're free. I'll totally take you out there and we can tee it up. Sure. I consider that my home course, and it's the closest course that I live to. So yeah, I'll take you out there and we'll play. Okay. Very cool. So Les has got a question about rookies.
Well, this question actually came from Beth Bethel, my colleague at Pro Golf Now.
Yeah, why didn't she join today? We should have invited her.
Well, you didn't invite her.
Sorry, Beth.
I emailed her last night and said, hey, why don't you come up with a couple of questions for me? This is from her. What do you anticipate being your highest or your biggest challenge in managing your rookie year?
Honestly, I think just not getting overwhelmed. You know, I had played the Symetra Tour for so long that I kind of, you know, I knew what was going on, and I walked around with a lot of confidence, and I knew everybody, and I knew the staff, and I think that the thing rookies maybe get intimidated about is just that you feel like you don't quite belong, even though obviously I've earned my place out there. So I think that that's something I'll have to overcome, just making sure that I'm confident. And, you know, it was funny because at the card ceremony at the Symetra Tour Championship, Mike Wan got up and was like, you know, this is your tour, and if you go to the first tournament in Ocala and Suzanne Pedersen and Christy Kerr are hitting balls and there's enough room for you in between, you just need to go in there and say, hey, scoot over, I'm here. And then it was funny because Gary Williams was there, and he got up and talked after Mike, and he said, if any of you are going to do that, please let Golf Channel know, because we would love to have a camera on you when you say that to Christy Kerr.
Or Suzanne Pedersen.
Yeah, but I know Christy pretty well. My dad worked for her forever, too. So.
Okay, so everybody in your family has golfed and caddied, and your husband caddies and all this. So who's going to be the first person out of your family to caddy for you? And how are you going to break that news to them?
None of them. So my dad, he caddied for me on the European Tour almost that whole year. You know, so we work really well together. My brother actually came out and caddied for me in the Arizona Open a couple months ago. I had never really worked with him since I turned pro, so I just kind of wanted to see how that went, which it went fine. But I've hired a guy, his name's Billy Prentice, and he's caddied on the LPGA forever. He's really good friends with my dad. He was on my bag this year in Charlotte when I won, and then he caddied for me like 6 times this year. So that's who I've got.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's fine if you don't ever want to, like, a major. Like, when you get into your first major, you got to, like, have your folks there, right? Like,
everybody's gonna be working. They've got their own players.
Yeah, they'll be there, and they'll just be working.
And they've all got their own gig, man.
Yeah, but Julien, he actually was able to caddy for me at the Symetra Tour Championship, and we work really well together too. I know a lot of husbands and wives can't really do that, but we do really well, and that was really special because obviously that was, you know, a big turning point, and I had to play well that week to get my card.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so Kelly's going to talk now about equipment.
Okay.
Yes, I guess this is kind of a techie question, and I have to admit I got help also with this question. I told you that I know Alexandra Cossi, and so she was giving me some advice on questions. So this is based on some inside information from her. And she was wondering how big was the switch from TaylorMade to Callaway that you made in 2013 to 2014? She said the Callaways really seemed to work well for you.
Yes. So growing up, I always played Callaway fairway woods, and I am not the longest hitter. That's kind of always something I'm working on, try to gain distance, because I've always honestly been a pretty short hitter. So I have, like, my highest iron is a 6 iron. I play a 5 hybrid, a 4 hybrid, a 7 wood, a 5 wood, a 3 wood. So lots of head covers in my bag. So honestly, those are very key clubs for me. And for some reason, I just can't hit the TaylorMade fairway woods. Like, when the rocket balls came out, I don't know. I loved their irons, but I just couldn't hit the fairway woods.
Well, all you have to do is wait like 6 days, and we'll have a new set of clubs coming out. So it's
What'd you say?
All you have to do is wait 6 days, and we'll have a new set of clubs coming out.
So my switch was because I knew that eventually, if I got my card, I would want to kind of go with one club company. And, you know, like I said, those hybrids and fairway woods are super important to me, and I have always played Callaway since I was 11. So it kind of just made sense, and I love their stuff. It's amazing. I gained quite a bit of distance when I switched to it, and obviously it worked really well for me this year.
Have you hit the Chrome Soft yet?
No, not yet.
It is so good. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
No, I play the Titleist golf ball.
okay. Well, that was one of my questions in the lightning round, so don't tell me which version until we get to the lightning round. So, Kelly's going to ask one more though, because I'm curious about this stuff too, because I see them pop up on Twitter all the time, and I didn't realize that you were involved with them. So, Kelly, let's go tee to table.
Yeah, I saw that you are, I guess, an ambassador for Tee to Table, and I see them a lot on Twitter as well. And so I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that and what your involvement with them is.
Yeah, so Tee to Table is a blog website started by Deanna Alfredo, and she is a golf enthusiast. She absolutely loves it. She's only been playing for 3 years, but she's gotten pretty good. And so basically she has a blog about, she does golf trips. She also was a former chef, so a lot of it is centered on recipes and cooking. And if you follow her like on Instagram, she makes this stuff that's amazing. Like I look at it, I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. So basically, yeah, it's a blog about golf, cooking, lifestyle. You know, she's really trying to introduce the game to women that maybe wouldn't be interested otherwise, in a form of kind of pulling them in from the lifestyle side of it, and then kind of introducing golf as well.
Now, speaking of Twitter, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, how did you get involved with that, and how did you meet her?
Yeah, so Deanna came to a Symetra Tour event in 2013, I think. And so she had ordered clothing. One of my clothing sponsor is golfforher.com. So Deanna was a customer of golfforher.com. She came to a Symetra Tour event to play in the Pro-Am with another player, and then she just came out to watch me finish because she knew the connection between Christina and I. So she tweeted, you know, hey, out watching at Golf for Her's player at Mallory Blackwelder, whatever. And then she had a charity event that she needed somebody for, so she got my contact info from Christina, and then we met, and then we just kind of hit it off. And so she is one of my biggest supporters, and it's awesome.
So I was going to say, speaking of Twitter, you are quite active on Twitter, and then I had another question that I wanted to ask, but I'll ask that in a minute, because I do want to know more about your Twitter campaign, and it just looks like you have fun with it. But are you doing anything else with social media outside of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, any of that? Or just
I have Instagram. I have a Facebook fan page. Obviously, I have regular Facebook, but I try to keep that personal. But I think Twitter is just the easiest one, in my opinion. It's instant. You know, obviously you can follow whoever you want. I like that about it more than Facebook, because if I don't want to see somebody, I don't follow them, you know? So that's why I like Twitter, but I think it's just quick and easy. And I like it because, you know, you can really easily connect with your fans, but in a non-kind of, I don't know how to explain what I mean, but I just like it the best out of any of them.
Well, thank you for following me, because you follow me on Twitter, and I do tweet a lot about golf, so we'll have something in common on Twitter. Yeah. Les, let's go back and talk about our mom a little bit more.
Well, I just wanted to, I was wondering how much influence that your mother had on you as far as picking golf as a career.
Obviously, my whole family had a huge influence. You know, my brother and I grew up on tour. We traveled with my parents. We had a motorhome, and we traveled with them until my brother and I had to start school. So growing up, I honestly wasn't that interested in playing golf. None of my friends at school played. They all played basketball, so I joined the rec league basketball team, and I really liked the team aspect of that. Obviously, I'm 5'5", so I was never going to be a very good basketball player. So my parents, we had a very good junior golf tour in Kentucky. So my parents made me play in my first one. I was 11 years old, and they said, if you play in this tournament, it was just a little 9-hole thing. If you hate it, you never have to do it again, but we just want you to give it a chance. And I met other girls that were playing and really, you know, made friends and had fun. And then, you know, I got pretty good when I was like 13, and then I was like, oh, this is fun. And then as far as, you know, when did I want to, you know, follow in my mom's footsteps and turn pro, I kind of always just thought that I would. You know, I always just said, oh, well, my mom played on the LPGA Tour, that's what I'm going to do too. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you play with her, do you let her win, or can you beat her?
She doesn't play very much anymore at all. She teaches golf in Kentucky, and I
Where
think
is
her
she
and
in
I
Kentucky? I'm from Indiana originally, so we're kind of like neighbors.
okay. Um, but yeah, she really doesn't play that much anymore. We played a team tournament together out here, the Four Barrow. They only had it 1 year, but it was a current tour player and a former tour player together, and we had a blast. And I mean, she played really good. She still has it, but she just doesn't play that much.
Yeah. So, big break. Talk about that. Tell us what that experience was like, how you got into that, and what it was like competing in that week after week.
Yeah, so the first big break, Ireland, I just auditioned at a Symetra Tour event it was actually, the audition was in Daytona, because we used to play that tournament in the spring. So went and auditioned, and, I felt like the audition went well, but obviously you don't know. And then they were like, okay, well, if you make it, you'll hear from us in a couple months. So got a call, said you're on the show, and then they don't tell you where you're going until the day before you leave. So they sent us like a packing list, and they said expect U.S. spring-like weather between 40 and 65 degrees. So I knew that because we filmed it in May of 2011. So I was like, I kind of guessed. I thought we were going to either be in Ireland or Scotland. So I wasn't like totally taken off guard, but the weather when we were there was so bad. Oh my gosh, it was so miserable, but it was the best experience of my life. Everybody says it, but the pressure on that show is honestly more pressure than anything else I've ever experienced. And it's just a really cool experience because you go through it with these 11 other people, and each season is different. And it's like, I feel like I have this bond with those people forever because you just can't even explain what happens. And, a lot of people think the drama is manufactured. And, I think on certain seasons, like I think this season, Anthony probably played it up a little bit. But I felt like on our season, like everything that happened, nobody told us what to say. You're just emotional because you're trying to make, this money and it's going to change your life. And so you get really into it.
That's awesome. Kelly, let's go back to you for another question.
Well, I want to kind of stick with the big break because I did watch that season. I thought, I've watched a couple of seasons since then, and I think by far that was the best season. And I was really, like I said, I was really pulling for you. But, of course, I had no idea when I was watching that there was a romance forming between you and Julien. And I think you were the third to last person to be eliminated, and it was Julien. Was it Julien and
Mark?
Who played in the final?
Julien and Mark. Right.
So at that point in time, were you and Julien are already an item?
No. So because we were our season had teams, and so our teams lived in two separate houses, and we weren't even allowed to like interact with the other team outside of the golf course. So I didn't even, honestly, if he hadn't made it to the final and I hadn't made it so far, we would not be together because we wouldn't have even really got to know each other. So over the course of, you film for 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks, there was maybe a little bit of like flirting and a spark, but nothing, nothing crazy. We weren't there to do that. We were there to try to win $50,000. And we got to know each other as friends first, and then I guess like 2 weeks after we filmed, we were texting, and he randomly was just like, hey, I'm going to come caddy for you this week. And so he flew from Arizona to Cincinnati and caddied for me. And, I mean, we've pretty much just been together ever since.
That is so awesome. What a
Very
cool
romantic.
Yeah, so he was pretty bold. I mean, that was a bold move for him to just text me and say, hey, I'm coming to caddy for you.
Well, I mean, that's one way. Now, it's funny that you said that if you wouldn't have gotten as far, that you might not have ever. I mean, so you need to thank golf literally for everything that's happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, was the wedding golf themed? I assume that there had to have been some golf. No.
We actually, we did. It was at Keeneland. It was at the horse race track in Lexington. I wanted it to be very Kentucky because a lot of the guests that came in had never been there. But the only golf stuff was we walked out in our reception to the Big Break theme music, and we played a video. Actually, one of the Golf Channel producers made us a video, like with pictures of when we were kids, and then incorporated some of the footage. So that was really cool.
Okay, well, there was a little golf.
A little bit, yeah.
All right. Les, I'm going to kick it back to you for your final question.
Well, you kind of stepped on my big break question as a follow-up, but that's all right.
I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
And I'm only about 10 miles from Kentucky, where I live here.
Oh, okay.
With the Solheim Cup coming this year, and your previous affiliation with the LAT, what kind of chances do we have this year of actually winning that thing?
Gosh, I hope that. I hope that it's better. I hope it's better for both the men and the women. But I think this year, or in Colorado, I think it kind of woke everybody up, and I think Julie is going to be a great captain. I think that she has the power to really inspire the players, maybe more so than some other people in the past. But I just hope that, I just hope we step up. The Europeans have a great team, but
so there won't be a mutiny like we had at Glen Eagles then.
I don't think so. I don't foresee that happening.
With the old guard.
No, I don't think so. No, I think Julie's going to be an amazing captain.
Kelly, you get one more too, even though I don't have a final one for you. So I hope you've thought of one in the course of this. And
well, we've talked a lot about your family, and I think it's so cool that you have such a cool golf family. I was kind of curious, like on holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, do you guys have a tradition? I imagine that you guys all go out and play golf, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, no, we actually don't.
I was going to say, you probably have no interest in playing golf.
We all travel so much, and we're all around it so much, that when we get time off, we want to be off. And I do play golf with my dad a lot whenever we are home together, but never on holidays. I don't think we've ever played golf on a holiday, actually.
I hadn't until this year.
Of course, in Kentucky you can't. So
yeah, right.
Maybe that's another reason.
Okay, well, we've been talking for like 45 minutes, it seems like. The final part of the Friday Foursome are 9 rapid-fire questions, and we used to call it the back 9, and then Les he complained about it and wanted to change it to the lightning round. And some of these questions are fun, and one of these is the most important question that you'll answer all day, and Les already knows what that question is. But
yeah.
Are you ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
Okay, what golf ball are you playing? And I know that it's Titleist, but what exact golf ball?
The Pro V.
Ooh, good. Not the X, because I play the regular Pro V too. Yeah. What is your favorite PGA Tour major?
The Masters.
What is your favorite golf movie?
Ooh.
That's not the most important question.
No, I don't. We watched Caddyshack over Thanksgiving. I mean, that's a pretty good one.
That's pretty good. Have you
it's a classic.
Yeah, Caddyshack 2 is better. I'm just kidding. Caddyshack 2 is horrible. So, since you're so active on Twitter, in 140 characters or less, explain to me what it's like being a professional golfer.
It is very hard. If you saw the article that Beth Ann Nichols posted the other day about the struggle of the LPGA, that pretty much sums it up. I recommend everyone reading that.
I haven't seen that. That was way more than 140 characters, but yeah. I'm going to let that pass as a Facebook status update, so that'll work. Okay, now this is the most important question that you'll answer all day. Will Tiger break Jack's record? Why or why not?
No, I don't think so.
Ooh, bad answer.
I liked you until that. Yeah, that's a bad answer. Now, why? Why do you think that?
I just think that there's been so much happen, and he is dissected so much every single time he tees it up. I know he's amazing. He's the best, if not one of the best golfers ever to have lived, but I just think that I just don't see it happening.
I'll allow that, as I used to just say yes or no, and then I'd be mad at you if you said no, but the fact that you're able to elaborate on that. Have you ever had an ace?
Yes, I've had two.
2?
One at Mountain Shadows. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. That's which hole?
Number 5 or 6.
Okay, well, they're all pretty much par 3, so I mean, yeah. Do you know what club you hit? Do you remember?
I hit a 6-iron.
Awesome.
Ooh, that's what I hit with mine.
And I've never had one, so let's keep rubbing it in. Ace
Sorry.
people. Kelly, have you had one? I'm sure you've had one.
No, I have not had
Awesome.
one.
We can hang out later. That's cool. So there are a lot of them out there. What's your favorite training aid?
That's a good question. I don't use a ton. I use the putting arc, the yellow one, and I use the orange whip sometimes.
Awesome. Jim Hackenberg, former Friday Foursome guest.
I have one.
He sees this. I do too. Yeah. I use it. Love it. Okay, who's in your perfect foursome?
That question, I feel like that question is really hard, but I would say my two late grandfathers, because I never got to play golf with them, and I mean, this is a random one, but maybe Adam Levine.
Okay, we got.
Adam Levine.
We need more details on that one.
No, we don't. I have a pretty good idea of why she picked him.
But he's a golfer, right? Apparently he likes it. He plays a lot.
Doesn't even matter if he likes it. Maybe if he's bad, it would take longer and it'd be a better pick for your person. He has a really good voice, Les. That's why she wants to play with him, because he's got a good voice. And the final question of your Friday Foursome, what's next? And don't say lunch, because that's what's next for me. But.
No, I think I'm going to go up to Pinnacle. There's a Friday it's a men's game, but I usually play in it. So Julien headed up there earlier, so I think I'm going to probably join them on the back nine. And next, as far as like golf in general, I've got to get back into the gym. Since the wedding, I've not been in the gym. So I do the Joey D golf program, and I'm going to go see him in early January. So if I don't start working out now, I'm going to die when I go see him. So that's what's next for me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for doing this today. This has been fun. We've talked, like I said, for longer than most guests, but that's okay because you had to get one up on Kindle. So I think that's a good battle between you two. Les, thanks for joining us, and thanks for changing your hat. And you got a new one in the mail. And Kelly, thanks for stepping up from the bullpen.
It's been fun.
Jason never joined, and it was kind of, I had told him to join, and I was going to make fun of him for joining, and he never did. So I'm going to give him a hard time about that later. But as Jesus Martinez says, and stole from his favorite golf movie, make more birdies.